The Great American Bash took place today in Atlanta, Georgia at Center Stage. To start the show off, we got a really good video package highlighting the first ever Great American Bash under Jim Crockett Promotions. They praised Dusty Rhodes for creating the event. And I like that to start the show, even though this Great American Bash is not, one of WWE's bigger shows now. I do like that they at least bring up the history. It's kind of funny that it seems like Halloween Havoc's a much bigger show than Great American Bash nowadays, even though in WCW, Great American Bash was always the bigger show. So, I like the intimate setting for the stage. I just felt like this whole thing feels like a TV special. And this would have worked a lot better. This entire show would have been so much better as a TV special. Even if it's for 2 nights. I mean, you probably can't do 2 weeks in a row in Atlanta, even for 1 week. The rest of these matches, you could have taken the Oba Femi and Inamura match that need to happen. You take the other 4 matches, put it on a TV special. It would have been great. It would have been similar to that Roadblock show from MSG earlier this year as a TV special. We all know why WWE decided to make this a PLE. I don't need to go over it again. We all know the other show that's happening right now as I'm recording this review of NXT, Great American Bash. I just felt like this would have been a lot better as a TV show. And I didn't like all the breaks in between. I mean, how many video packages do we need for Evolution or for Saturday night's main event? I thought they just did it too much during the show. Too many breaks. Now, we started the show off with Jasper, Troy, and Javon Evans. And we did have a red, white, and blue ropes, which is a throwback to the Great American Bash. That actually makes sense. So they had strength versus speed on display here. Jasper, Troy worked over Javon Evans' taped ribs. Evans eventually got the win by stacking him up with a roll-up. I just thought Jasper Troy's very green, doesn't belong here. Only reason he's in this match is so they can put over the LFG show. I feel like once LFG is done premiering, maybe they won't push back Jasper Troy as hard. They're overdoing it with him. I don't get it. I don't see much appeal with him. I'm not a fan. I'm just bored with him. He just seems like another big guy who just has chains. I don't see anything in Jasper Troy. I just feel like they're over pushing him right now in NXT. He just feels like one of those old clunkers that you see in the early days of NXT. Those big old clunkers who just are slow, and I'm not a fan. I'm glad Javon got the win. We got a Jada Parker video promo for the Battle Royal at Evolution tomorrow. It was one of many, but I'm glad Jada got showcased because I really like her. Then they promote the family triple threat match on Tuesday with a Stacks video. Then we have Sarah Scriber, who, by the way, looked really good tonight. She's a hot MILF, let's be honest. That's what she is. She looked good. She interviewed Ruca and Zaria ahead of the match tonight, which was Ruca defending against Izzi Dame, and their tag match tomorrow night at Evolution. During the segment, we got interruptions from Dark State. We got those stupid subliminal messages. We already get that the White 6 on the main roster. We don't need another fucking thing with Dark State. These guys are the worst. We get the NXT Women's North American Championship on the line. Ruca defending against Izzi Dame. So Tatum Paxley accompanied Izzi Dame, and then Zaria accompanied Ruca for her entrance. Izzy got the heat for a while. Soul's very athletic, but there's a lot of mistakes made by both of them. And I think the big issue is Izzi Dame just isn't Kalani Jordan. She's not as athletic. So, as I said, Ruca and Kalani Jordan are basically wrestling soulmates. Izzi Dame just isn't that. Not as fast, not as athletic. So he had Tatum Pax interfere, but eventually Zaria just takes her out of the match. And then by hitting her with a spear on the outside, I believe. Eventually, Ruca wins with a soul snatcher from the ropes, which was really cool. She usually does it from the corner, but some was from the ropes, which looked good. And I just felt like, similar to the first match with Jasper Troy, Izzi Dame to me looks very green. I'm not too sure if she needs to be in this position right now. I just feel there's so many women in that division who are a lot better than her, and I don't think she really needed to be on a PLE at the moment. They show Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe backstage, and we get the NXT North American Championship defended in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Ethan Page defending his title against Ricky Saints in what feels like was the blow-off to this great feud they've been having on NXT. And it also feels Ricky's probably going to the main roster, and we'll get to that in the match. By far and away, this was my most anticipated match, and it delivered. This would have been an amazing TV main event that would have just been awesome and everyone would have loved. But being on here and, going head-to-head with All In, and you have Star Night's main event and you have Evolution tomorrow night, I feel like people are going to forget about this match. If this was on Tuesday, everyone would have been talking about it for the week. This show kind of annoyed me in a way. Now, the match really did deliver, and I was feeling watching it that, this was the only thing that really needed to be on it, that was PLE worthy, that felt like a big PLE match. Everything else just felt like a TV match. This genuinely felt like a PLE match. So you had them immediately start brawling. You had kendo sticks and trash cans used. They fight in the stands up in the crowd. Up in the stands in the crowd. And then they fight in the concourse. And then eventually Ricky slams Ethan through a table that was on the merchandise area. We don't usually see that. And then imagine if you're a fan walking around and you just see them fighting. It would have been pretty cool, wouldn't it have been? Then you have Ethan back in the ring area using a chair. He injures Ricky's throat again by wrapping the chair around his neck and throwing it into the ring post. Ricky then uses a fire extinguisher. Ricky then takes a steel guardrail, which was used to hold to divide the fans, but he throws it in the ring and then he puts it up into the corner. Before the steel guardrail was used, you had two chairs set up, and Ethan back body dropped Ricky Saints onto two chairs set up, and he hit the top of the chairs, which looked painful. And then he took a suplex onto the guardrail as it was slanted into the turnbuckle, and that looked really good. It bent, probably not real steel, obviously, that would have killed him, but it did look cool when it bent. This match, I just felt, watching it felt so similar to the kind of bumps we saw Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens take at Elimination Chamber in their match. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not a good thing because look at Kevin Owens right now. Sami's always getting hurt. I don't know. I think Sami's hurt in storyline, but still, yeah, that kind of worried me a bit. But the match was still great. You had 4 chairs seated, and then Ricky Saints hit a great powerbomb onto Ethan Paige onto the 4 chairs, hitting the seat. It looked better. It looked safer than hitting the top. Hitting the seats, it's a flat surface. Not hitting the top, which is which is certainly not flat. It looks way more painful. Then they fought on the stage. I think there was a back body drop or something. And then eventually, they're at the edge of the stage, and Ethan Paige hits the Razor's Edge off the stage, and Ricky goes smashing. He goes crashing, through 2 tables on the ground. An insane spot that looked crazy. Ethan Paige then pins Ricky Saints 1, 2, 3 in a match that was basically a clean finish, and defeats him to retain the NXT North American Championship and to win this feud. And it seems like Ricky Saints is going to the main roster soon. The match was excellent. The one that wasn't kind of clean was Ricky bumped into Jasper Troy backstage, and he took a choke slam onto a production box, but that was brief. It just felt like a brief part of the match. I hope we're not getting Jasper Troy and Ricky Saints, and Jasper wins, then Ricky goes. Hope that's not like a match we get later in the summer, but this should have been the end of Ricky Saints in NXT, to be honest, because this is a good way to go out. Ethan wins, and you know what? I thought the match was awesome. We get a Ruca Instagram video to promote the triple threat match on Tuesday. They promote Houston, which is going to host an NXT show on July 22nd. That's good. That'll be the first NXT out of the Performance Center since the Tuesday after WrestleMania, which is insane. That's 3 months. They usually would do it every 4 weeks to start the year, 3 months. But they did have to cancel one in Tampa, I believe. Tampa, Florida. That was supposed to be after the last Saturday night's main event, but they had to cancel that one. So they also announced NXT Heatwave, which is a PLE, on August 24th. I'm glad they're doing that. That should be a good show. It has its own weekend. Hopefully WWE really puts on a good show for that. I'm looking forward to Heatwave. Then you have a contract signing for the TNA Championship. You have Ava Raine and Santino Marella in the ring, and they had Carlos Silva sitting in the crowd. They announced the competitors. I didn't care. I just felt like this should be on TV. This should be on an NXT show. It's probably has more audience watching the CW and then on Netflix internationally, and then you can do a better job promoting the TNA Slammiversary show. I don't think this needed to be on this show particularly, because not as many people are going to watch this show with all the wrestling this weekend. So, I'll be honest, they had Santana go on for too long. Joe Hendry says he wants to be champ again. Trick says he's the best TNA champion of all time. Fans aren't happy about that. They start chanting for AJ Styles, who is the greatest TNA wrestler of all time. Eventually, there's a fight, and then Joe Hendry and Mike Santana double powerbomb Trick Williams through a table. You had multiple table spots. I think that's like the fourth table that was smashed today. The segment was okay. It just should have been a TV show. Should have been on TV. Did not need to be on a PLE. It just seemed like they were killing time. I mean, the show could have been 2 hours. It didn't need to even be 2.5. I don't even know why they even had to have this here. They preview Saturday night's main event, and then immediately Dark State attacks Joe Hendry and Mike Santana who are in the ring. It's obvious they're aligned with Trick Williams. You had a Kalani Jordynne video on the Battle Royal, which is tomorrow, so Kalani got highlighted as well. I'm glad for her. I really like her. We get a video promo from the Dawn to promote the triple threat match on Tuesday. They're basically going to blow up the whole family. It's the end of the family. Had Briggs hyping up Inamura before his big title match backstage. The NXT Championship was up next as Femi defended his title against Yoshiki Inamura with Josh Briggs in his corner. At first, it was a test of strength, and then the match fell off a cliff when there was a ref bump. Briggs hit Femi in the back with the belt, and then Inamura hit a backdrop. Inamura went for his top rope splash when he sees Briggs holding the belt, and this was just so overbooked, man. Briggs kept trying to cheat. He threw like a chain to Inamura. Inamura refused to hit Femi with it. It was just so obvious, man. It was just so overbooked. Inamura is refusing to cheat on behalf of Josh Briggs. Announcers did way too much exposition here, and Briggs interferes again and again. Eventually, Femi won with the fall from grace. I hated this match. It sucked. Should have just been on TV. Would have been fine as a TV non-title match or even a TV title match. This did not need to be on the PLE. I was surprised when they first announced that the women's tag team match was the main event. Considering how this match was booked, yeah, I completely understood why. I was actually thinking this could be like a great, tough, stiff, strong, big man match. Oh, I hated this match. One of the worst NXT title matches I've seen in a while. I hated how it was booked, man. Whole thing's just to split up Briggs and Inamura. And what's Inamura going to do outside of that? They were a good team. Whatever. They show us a lot of the sights of Atlanta, some of the big buildings. They showed that throughout the night. Throughout the day, as this show took place during the day. We do have a show taking place at night. Then, speaking of Atlanta, we had Lash Legend, Hometown Girl, doing her video promo for the Women's Battle Royal at Evolution tomorrow night. Trick Williams was complaining to Ava Raine in her office about what happened with being attacked by both Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. She immediately accuses him of being part of Dark State, and then she makes a 6-man tag where Trick Williams now has to team with both Hendry and Santana against Dark State on NXT, which was to set up the whole thing with the big reveal being Trick Williams is controlling Dark State. We got a Sarah Schreiber. I was really happy to see her on screen again. She was interviewing Femi after he retained his title, and then he had Inamura come in and immediately apologize about Josh Briggs. Then Josh Briggs shows up. He tries to fight Femi because Inamura has honor, Femi has no honor. I don't care about this at all. This was the worst part of the show, in my opinion. This stuff sucked. They preview NXT for next Tuesday, the show we have, which is actually a pretty decent show with the lineup. And then we get our main event. The debuting Blake Monroe teaming up with Jordynne Grace, taking on Fatal Influence, the NXT Women's Champion Jacy Jayne, her partner Fallon Henley, and Jazmyn Nix in their corner. Of course, this being Blake's official NXT and WWE debut. So, Jordynne started off. Eventually, Blake got the tag in. She got a big pop when she first came in because this is her first official match. You had Jazmyn taking her first shot at Blake Monroe. It was one of many. Fans hated Jayne. They know she's not good. There was even a "Not My Champion" chant at one point, which was pretty funny. They got the heat on Jordynne Grace for a while before Blake eventually got the hot tag. I just kept thinking, man, Jacy's not very good. I thought Fallon was pretty good in the match. I like her, but Jacy's not good. Jordynne was really good. Blake's very good. Not a fan of Jacy, and of course, she should be the best one because she's the champion right now. You had Jazmyn keep interfering in, I think the third time is when she threw Blake off the top rope. Then Masha Slamovich, the TNA Women's Champion, came out, took out Jazmyn. Eventually, it came down to the four. They did the four-corner thing that they kind of do at the Royal Rumble where they had the four last competitors. Even this time, however, to make things different, it was a tag team match. But I did like that spot anyways. Eventually, Fallon gets thrown out of the ring, and then Jordynne Grace ends up on the stage, so you have Blake and Jacy in the ring, and I think Jacy hit an elbow to, Blake hit an elbow. Oh my God, I can't get this right. Jordynne Grace hit an elbow to Blake. Jeez, I'm never going to get this right. I apologize. Jordynne Grace hit an elbow to Jayne while she's on the stage, and then Blake Monroe hit her DDT, and she pins Jayne. So in her debut, Blake Monroe pins the NXT Women's Champion to get the win for her team. Blake and Jordynne Grace celebrate the win together. They are victorious. I'm sure Blake will be in Jordynne's corner tomorrow night in Evolution. That would make sense. And that's how the show ended. A TV main event, which was fine for that, but this was not a PLE main event. Let me make that clear. This did not need to be a PLE. This was a TV special that was just promoted as a PLE, that they made a PLE because of the competition. They wanted to stick it to AEW, which I didn't think really worked, to be honest. But, I mean, this show isn't going to hurt WWE or anything. It was what it was. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. It's easily the weakest NXT PLE of the year by far. Vengeance Day, Stand and Deliver, and Battleground were both far better than this. As I said, it was a TV special that they decided to make a PLE to do counter programming. It is what it is. But it wasn't like the show was bad or anything. So we'll see what happens next on NXT. And I'll be doing a review of Saturday night's main event after that show concludes. So hopefully we get a good show tonight.